Good day, and thank you for joining us here at the National Museum of the Pacific War for our second virtual Veterans Day commemoration. Next year, we are hoping to have an in-person commemoration here in our beautiful memorial courtyard. On the 11th of November each year, we pause to honor those men and women who have served our great nation in uniform. On one day, we stand united and thank them for their service. They are our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our children, our neighbors, our fellow citizens. And by remembering them, it's a small token of thanks for what they have done. As a veteran, when I am asked what Veterans Day means to me, I think of those men and women since the founding of our country who have always come forward when our nation has asked. They have come forward even when the citizens did not support them, as during Vietnam. They have come forward even when the citizens forgot about them, as during Korea. They have always given their best, sometimes in extremely dangerous situations. When I think of the connection between my generation in Vietnam and today's, I think of the unity and fighting spirit of those individuals deployed throughout the world. This is a special connection that we should be quite proud of. Today's commemoration includes a string ensemble from the Boerne Middle School playing our national anthem, our guest of honor, J Mcwilliams, who at the age of 17 in 1943 joined the Marine Corps and served in the Pacific during World War II with 5th Marines. It also includes some comments by several other veterans and our normal medley of service songs played by the Fredericksburg Middle School Band.
My name is Donald J Mcwilliams, but most people call me Mac. I am a Marine. In 1941, I was just 16 when I heard the President of the United States give his talk. People across America, from the snow-covered mountains of Maine to the sweltering bayous of Louisiana to the eastern seaboard of the Carolinas, to the sandy beaches of California, all gathered around the radio to hear the president speak. Television hadn't been invented at that time, so radio was the only way that the president could talk to the people. After President Roosevelt spoke to the Congress on December the 8th, American men and women, in fact, there were 16 million of them, quit their jobs and left their homes to join the military. Sadly, over 1 million of those people would be killed or wounded. In the front window of my home in Ozona, Texas, there was a flag with 5 stars, one for each member of my family who served in the military. I had a sister in the WACs, 2 brothers in the Army, 1 brother in the Navy, and I was in the Marines. 2 of my brothers earned a Silver Star, 2 Purple Hearts. When the war started, I was too young to serve in the military, but when I became 17, I begged my parents to give me their permission to join the Marines, and they did. Well, 2 things happened after I joined the Marines. Number 1, the next 3.5 years were the toughest years of my life. And number 2, the friends that I made in those years were the best friends that I ever made. 6 of us who joined the Marines together became a band of brothers, friends for life. Today, there are just 2 of us left, but I will always cherish the memories of my band of brothers. World War II changed young boys into men and young girls into women. The sacrifices that they made have now become only memories of a lifetime. I served with the 1st Marine Division, 5th Infantry Regiment at Cape Gloucester in New Britain, Talisea, Peleliu, Okinawa, and then we were sent to China. In the spring and summer of 1944, the 1st Marine Division prepared for the landing on Peleliu. Peleliu is an island to the east of the Philippines. 3 days before D-Day, which was September the 15th, it was designated for us to go ashore. Our American ships and our planes began a constant shelling and bombing of the island. Aerial photographs were taken and sent to our Central Command, and they showed a total destruction of all the surface installations. The commander of the 3rd Fleet studied the photographs, consulted with his staff, and made a very huge decision. He said the assault landing on Peleliu should be canceled. The island should be bypassed, but the change in plans was not approved. And in September of 1944, over 26,000 Marines of the 1st Marine Division boarded ships for the assault landing on Peleliu. In the early morning of D-Day, we were called to morning chow. That's breakfast for you who don't know that chow means breakfast. We were served cold Spam and powdered eggs. Now I'll tell you, Spam's okay. I can eat that today. But powdered eggs, it's like eating sawdust with mayonnaise on them. They were terrible. When our Marine commander heard what we had been served, he was furious. And he ordered the ship's captain to break out his steaks and fresh eggs, and he did, and we were called back down to the galley for a second breakfast that morning. Well, when it was time to go, we put on our packs, grabbed our weapons, and we climbed down swaying nets to the waiting landing craft beside our ship. I'll be honest with you, I think every one of us was scared. I know I was. It's sad to say, but for some of those young Marines, still in their teens, Peleliu would be their first campaign, but for many, it would be their last. I remember that we were all seasick and vomit and salty spray drenched every one of us. The Japanese had prepared the island for the invasion that they knew was coming. They knew it for months. So they had dug huge caves in the coral rocks, large enough to hide thousands of their Japanese soldiers and many, many of their guns. When our shelling and bombing stopped, The Japanese soldiers, to our surprise, stumbled out of their caves. We had no idea that they had been hiding in the caves while the shells fell on the rocks above them. What made the landing so difficult was that the Japanese had carefully measured the distance from their guns to certain places on the beaches. And when we came ashore, deadly mortar shells rained down on the men and on the landing craft. It had been predicted by our general that Peleliu would be secured in less than 5 days. But 8 weeks later, when the final count was made, there were over 6,000 wounded and missing, and 1,300 were killed. I was one of the lucky ones who lived so that I can tell you this story. One of my band of brothers, my best friend, lost his life on Peleliu. He was just 18. A few years ago, I went with other World War II veterans on an honor flight to Washington, D.C. We were all in our 80s and 90s. I'm 96 today. One of my grandchildren looked at me the other day and he said, "Papa, you're older than dirt." I agreed with him. Well, we went to the Arlington National Cemetery, the Korean and Vietnam War memorials, and the Lincoln Monument. The highlight of the trip, of course, was our visit to the World War II Memorial. Truly, it is a tribute to all of those who served. The memorial is flanked with stone pillars. Each of them is engraved with the name of a battle of World War II. I walked to the stone pillar that is engraved with the name of Italy. A man with a 36th Division Army patch on his sleeve was standing at attention, and tears was rolling down his eyes, his face. He had an old, wrinkled, sunburned face, and I wondered if he was thinking about a long-ago friend, or perhaps he was thinking about a brother, as I was. I had a brother. His name is Elwood. Today he is buried at the National Military Cemetery near Anzio. I stood beside this old gentleman, and tears rolled down our face. We both cried. Almost 76 years now have passed since World War II. But as I stood before the names of Cape Gloucester, Talisea, Peleliu, Okinawa, and China, the memories long forgotten came rushing back. I remembered my friends, my band of brothers. After the war was over, we were sent to China to disarm the Japanese soldiers that were still there after the war. And in January of 1946, I was told I would be going home. There are not too many veterans of World War II that are still around today. But today of all days is our day that we remember. We were young once, but now we are in the autumn years of our lives. And we know the winter years will soon come for us. Sometimes in the still of the night, we still charge the beaches, but now we do so only in our dreams. We know our memories are not as good as they used to be, and I've forgotten some of the things, but there's some moments, some memories that I want to forget, but I can't. How can I ever forget the forever rains while fighting in the jungles of Cape Gloucester and Talisea. One of my best friends who was killed on the burning coral island of Peleliu, I can't forget him. Or the Japanese kamikaze planes on Okinawa. The kamikaze planes mean divine winds. And the Japanese pilots of those planes swore to the world that they would die for their emperor by diving their planes into ships or into the troops on shore. Can I ever forget the Marine who got a letter from his wife telling him she wanted a divorce and that he would never be the father of the son he had never even seen? And can I ever forget that the very next day he stepped from behind a tank into the line of fire of the Japanese machine guns? Can I ever forget that we were on Okinawa when he heard that the atomic bombs had been dropped on Japan and the war would soon be over? And the men with dirty faces laughing for the first time in a long, long time. We knew the war would soon be ended. Can I ever forget the men who had never prayed in their lives, who dropped to their knees and looked toward the heavens? We're going home. Can I ever forget those who will always stay young, who still lie beneath the cool waters of the Atlantic, and those who lie beneath the warm waters of the Pacific? Can I ever forget those who will forever rest beneath the white crosses in Europe, and those who will lie for eternity beneath the white crosses on those islands in the Pacific? Can I ever forget my band of brothers? We owe so much to the veterans of World War II. And so on this day, and every day of my life, I will thank all those servicemen and women who gave so much to their country. Because those veterans were the ones who won the war. And we can thank them because they fought and they died for their country, my country, and your country, so that we may keep our freedom of speech. It is they, those veterans, not the lawyer, who gives us the right to a fair trial. And it is they, those veterans, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. And it is they, those veterans, they are the ones, not the preacher, that we can thank for our freedom of religion. We are called the greatest generation. But this generation today has yet to fulfill their destiny. And perhaps they can make this a better country than we did. I believe they can, but it's all up to them. We Marines have a saying, Semper Fi. It means always faithful. We believe in it. It's part of our honor. Semper Fi.
I was a lieutenant, retired as a lieutenant, and was a flyer off the USS Forrestal, A6 Squadron, known as VA-85.
I was an E4, and I was a 63 Bravo light wheel vehicle mechanic.
So what does that mean?
It means, well, I was actually a power generation mechanic as well. I was trained for both, but you work on light vehicles, anything under 5 tons, Jeeps, 2.5, 5 tons, and generators as well.
Yes, we worked out of, we photo reconnaissance all over the world. And we were in Da Nang, Philippines, Thailand, Korea, Okinawa, and our maintenance crew just jumped from one to the other. And I loved my job. I really did.
I was a bosun mate 3rd class in the United States Coast Guard. I was privileged to serve on the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Cuyahoga. We trained officer candidates.
Well, I served in both the United States Marine Corps and the United States Army. I was in the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War and served with 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, 3rd Marine Division in 1969. It's special being a country boy. I mean, during the Vietnam era, I wanted to serve in the military. My brothers, I have 5 brothers, 2 served in the Air Force and 2 in the Army, and then I was Army and Marine Corps. But so we grew up as kind of a military family. So
I was in 2 branches. I was enlisted in the Marine Corps, got out as a sergeant, and went in the Army as an officer. And so I did 20 years.
I was first in my family. My brother served 4 years. He's on USS Hancock. And my wife, she was in for 2 years in the Navy.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
Pretty sad.
Oh, I would get too emotional. I mean, come on, it's honoring everybody that served, so.
Well, it's just a time to offer the recognition that's so deserved for the veterans that have served their country, volunteered. And in this day and age, everyone volunteers to become a member of the military. At whatever rank they attain, it's all on a volunteer basis, so no one's forced to go. And so it just means that people have served and volunteered to do it. And then also the people in the past that we have lost over all the many wars that this nation has had to endure and participate in that are so meaningful to our freedom today.
It means a lot because, well, not just because I served and my in-laws were veterans as well. 2 of my children are veterans, but we lost my brother-in-law in the Afghan war, so it's a very special day.
Veterans Day is special because the military is important to the country, and we take an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I take that serious. It's important.
Well, it's hard to say. It gets emotional sometimes, but I miss the Navy. A lot of people don't know what the military goes through.
It means a time to stand back and just honor the people I was privileged to serve with. I think that really kind of sums it up for me. Just a time to stand back and give them a salute.
Thank you for joining us today on this special Veterans Day. One of the biggest differences between the time when I joined the armed forces and today's individuals is that the majority of servicemen and servicewomen are married. And in many ways, their families serve too. So when you thank a veteran, please also include their families. Thank you and have a safe and wonderful Veterans Day.